you hear the rain falling on the galvanized. Though there is a ceiling, you hear the rain falling on the galvanized. When you hear that, in the morning time when the air condition is on 16, because that's where it is. That's why I could hardly talk in the morning, because it has to be cold. And then you pull your blanket and you're hearing this rain. You say, I have to get up and do something. You say, I must be very sinful. I must be paying for some bad karma that I've committed, that I have to get up while everybody else could rest. And he performed great austerities to Lord Brahma. And praying to Lord Brahma, he won the Varadan that he prayed for. Has there ever been a time that you prayed and you did not win the Varadan, or did not win what you were asking for? You did not achieve what you were asking for? Sometimes, not receiving exactly what we asked for, God sends something very close. He sends something that will bring some kind of relief or some kind of aid. Though he is mokam karoti vachalam pangulam gayate girim yat kripatamaham bande paramanandamadavam. Though he has the ability to make the impossible possible and to work any miracle, he recognizes that your situation is to teach you a lesson. But not only you, your situation is to teach a lesson to those around you, to awaken those around you. There is a girl who is here. She's sitting on a chair. In the past, the chair that she would have sat on, somebody had to push it. A wheelchair. But now she's sitting on a chair and she could take her finger and she could glide herself in any direction that she wants to go. She must have prayed to Bhagwan countless times. Liberate me out of my trouble and allow me the opportunity to walk. But then God says, I will ease that burden of somebody having to push you. You can depend on yourself. You'll be able to help yourself. And I'm sending you an aid. A blessing comes through the medium of a remote and a battery, and God sends that. Coincidentally, she's celebrating her birthday too. And that's what permits her to be in the Yajna. Raja Bali, he wins the grace of Lord Indra. And winning the grace of Lord Brahma, what will happen? Listen, the Katha tells us. Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Jai Ram Ram Ram. Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Hari Narayana, Jai Ram Ram. Shri Paramatma ne nama, uske ka baad unke swarga par हमला का किया देवता का हरण देख और इंद्र के देवो स्वर्गा में भान निकल दिया होते शीर में देखो तनु का समय का गए राजा बलि का सुंदर करने जिसमें का विपति एक मन का दुला व्रत करने वाली वा अपने का प्रकार जिसमें का प्रतिबहुत करने वाली उसके का समय देख और करते इसलिए सभी नगरी का हो बहुत कुछ तथा करने हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण जय राम 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 हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण जय राम राम राम. Raja Bali, he won the grace of Lord Brahma, and so winning the grace of Lord Brahma, what did he ask for? He asked that he'll never be defeated in battle, and he asked that wherever he lives will be just like the heavens. He wants to experience the heavens. Having this Varadan and winning the grace of Lord Brahma, he made his way to the heavens. And so going to the heavens, being powerful and invincible, and he will not be destroyed, he looked at Lord Indra and he says, I want to sit there, you come off your throne. Indra, who is the god of the heavens, he looked at Lord Indra and he says, I want to sit there, you come off your throne. You ever go to a function and you go early and you find a seat and you sit down and you're waiting for the function to start, and then you put your purse on the table and then you know what happened? You need to go to the washroom. So you get up for 1 minute, but you leave your purse as an indicator that the chair is taken. And then when you come back, Somebody sitting in your chair. And you go and you tell them, excuse me, you're sitting in my chair. I was sitting here first. Can I have back my chair? And they look at you and say, we are already sitting here, you go and find the next chair. How would you feel? How would you feel? Raja Bali, he made it to Indralok and he looked at Lord Indra and he says, Indra, you come off your throne. I want to sit there. I am the new king of the heavens. And so now sitting on the throne, announcing that he's the new king of the heavens, even the devatas fled from that place. They all ran away from there. And running away from that place, what will happen? Bali was known for the virtues that he had. Have you ever heard that word virtue before? A woman can be described as being virtuous. Virtuous means that she has good values and morals and ethics. It makes her virtuous. Raja Bali, he was a being of great virtue. Now, isn't that contradicting itself? A man of virtue grabbing somebody else's seat and chasing them away. What is virtuous about that? What is virtuous about that? I'll tell you what is virtuous about that. Indra, though he sat on that throne, he was insecure. A person who is not secured is affected by everything, you know. You all know that? A person who is not secured is affected by everything. In a marriage, if there is insecurity, then every minute you'll be wanting to watch your husband or your wife phone. Huh? Every minute you'll be questioning, where did you go? And the man say, well, I just went to the toilet. Well, I didn't hear it flush. Because there's insecurity. So you always believe that the next person is lying. They're not telling the truth. Raja Bali, he was a virtuous being. And so he was loved in all the three worlds. He was loved by the demons, and he was loved even by the devatas, you know, because they were now enjoying this. The egoistic, arrogant Indra has been tugged off his throne. They were enjoying it. And so Raja Bali, what will happen? Listen, it tells us. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. राजा बलि हरन का अस्मत का होने करते इंद्र बहुत का दुख करने देवता की माता अदिति का उनको का देख और प्रश्न समय देख और समझ भगवान विष्णु का प्रार्थना करन इसलिए इतिहासों के तपस कीन्हे अदिति ने भगवान विष्णु से बलि का दानव की राजा व्यापस का लिंगे हैं इंद्र की वापस देने इसलिए कहा है ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Indra, losing his throne, Indra decided, he plotted in his mind that I wasn't going to give up the throne so easy. So he decided to fight with Bali. Have you ever tried to fight with somebody you know you wouldn't win? And when I say fight, it doesn't have to be physical, you know. Because there are some people you fight an argument with, but you fight that argument knowing that you will lose. Because you know what? Whether what you say, they will still be right. Husband, you know that about anybody? Don't answer. That was a trick question. They say, happy life, happy. Dave, what do you say? Happy life, happy. Oh, you see, he's correcting me. He said, no, you're saying it wrong. It's happy wife, happy life. Well, same difference, huh? Wife happy, life happy, wife happy. Raja Bali, Indra decided to fight with Raja Bali. And with little or no effort, Raja Bali, he won Lord Indra. There's some people, they always grand charge. Have you ever heard that word before? Grand charge? And there is no action, you know. No action. In life, when people try to sink you and try to bury you, remind yourself, I'm a seed. Seeds germinate better when they're buried, you know. People try to bury you for no reason at all, you know. Zero. No reason at all. No logic, no reason. Anytime somebody tries to bury you, always remember, I am a seed, so I will grow, I will blossom. Raja Bali sat there on the throne. And so Mother Aditi, observing what had happened, Mother Aditi started to pray. And so Mother Aditi started to pray to Bhagwan Vishnu. And why she was praying is not because of Indra, but because of the inconvenience that was now caused to all the devatas. They were forced to vacate. They were forced to leave the heavens. And so Mother Aditi knew that they will be somewhat uncomfortable. Have you ever been forced to run out of your home? Insect vector is spraying for mosquito. Well, actually that happened in the past. I don't even know if it have an insect vector again. Actually, I don't know if it have anything again, ministry-wise. Because you see school children beating and almost killing one another, and you never one day hear Minister of Education anywhere on the television or anywhere else saying, well, you know, discipline will be given, and if parents can't discipline their children, well then something will happen. You don't hear anything. The only ministry you know functioning is the Ministry of Finance, where that man will come on, and he will say, gas gone up, food gone up, everything gone up, and he's the only one talking and raising everything. And the more he talks, the more silent everybody else around behaves. Not me. Every time I go to the gas station, fumes come through my ears. Because when my gas tank would have taken minimum, now it is taking maximum. You see how I get in? It's because I have to spend the money on gas, not food. So I have to eat tin food, or else I will end up like gas too. Nobody talks about those things, you know. Nobody. We all pretend that we are not affected. You go to the grocery, and when you used to spend 500, now you're spending 2,000. But you smile and you buy it. Huh? You smile with grace, you smile. When I see my electric bill, sometimes I feel to faint away. I have to sit down first and compose myself before I open it. Think twice, should I open this thing? I feel in the near future I might have to put one of that tablet on my tongue. You know that? To make sure that the palpitations go in right synchrony. The price of everything is going up, and everything is everywhere, and nobody is concerned. Nobody cares. Nobody will open their mouth. Do you know we all have a voice? Do you know we all have a voice? And if together we all make a stand, then do you know there could be change? Actually, do you know there will be change? Mother Aditi, she decided to pray. And she started to pray to Bhagwan Vishnu. What is she saying to Lord Vishnu? Hari Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana. Hari Om Namo Narayana. Hari Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana. Hari Om Namo Narayana. Hari Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana. Hari Om Namo Narayana. Hari Om Namo Narayana. Om Namo Narayana. Hari Om Namo Narayana. Hari Om. श्री परमात्मने नमः। अदिति ने भगवान विष्णु से बलि का दान देखो राजा वापस का इंद्रलोका वापस देने का लिए कहा है। भगवान विष्णु उसने का अंधोर का सेवक क्या होते, देखो अदिति का घरवी का, देखो उसके का घरवा तुरंत बार बहुत का अश्वान वर्णन करते पृथ्वी, देखो रूप प्रया जिसमें वह जानते भी गया पृथ्वी, प्रवेश के बहुत का वंदे का कर्णन, देखो और कुछ गया होते उसके का गर्मी का राक्षसों का चमक का अपने का काम लिया है। हरि ओम नमो नारायण, ओम नमो नारायण, हरि ओम नमो नारायण,
हरि ओम नमो नारायण, ओम नमो नारायण, हरि ओम नमो नारायण.
Aditi, she was given a vardhan, she was given a gift that any time Bhagwan at the manifest as Lord Vishnu, he will come in her womb. Aditi was given that vardhan, that gift. And that's why Aditi, she was Kausalya in another cult. That's why Aditi, she was Devaki in another cult. And so she was the designated vehicle or vessel that Bhagwan had chosen to make his appearance true. Because of her purity, because of her chasteness. And so Aditi praying to Bhagwan Vishnu, she says, "Oh Lord Vishnu, I am begging you to take form and to come so that you can teach Raja Bali a lesson, because he has been blinded by the Maya, the illusion. And so he has become very worldly. And so I am begging you to come." And so Lord Indra and all the devatas, they are inconvenienced. And so Lord Vishnu, come, please come. Bhagwan Vishnu agrees. And so he enters into the womb of Aditi. But there is something that goes wrong. Aditi becomes gigantic, she becomes huge. Have you ever seen a woman in family way and you look at her and you say, "You're making twins?" Because of the size of her. Have you ever seen? And she say, "No, the ultrasound say one baby," and in your mind you say, "A giant, huge." It says she was so huge that everywhere she went, her footprints were embedded. Such was the weight that she possessed. What is the weight of a feather? What is the weight of a feather? What is the weight of jewelry? It is measured in? It's measured in grams, huh? We have the jeweler with us, Lakshmi Devi. Jewelry is measured in grams. The weight of the human body is measured in what? Measured in what? Pounds, kilos, is it? Your ego is measured with what? I'm just asking for a friend. Your ego is measured with what? Your greed is measured with what? Your greed. How can you know when somebody is greedy? Your greed is measured, and it might be safe for me to say this, through your actions. True or not? Come and teach Raja Bali a lesson. Come and teach him a lesson. And so Aditi, she became gigantic, and everywhere she went, she left her footprints. Ever go to the sea and you admire your footprint in the sand? And then the wave comes and washes it off, and you say, "Oh God, it was looking so nice. Let me go and walk again." And then you take a piece of stick or something and you draw a heart around your footstep. Your heart is depicted as being your instrument of love, isn't it? And some people already do that, you know. They take their foot and stamp upon it, on your heart. That's what they do. Aditi, her radiance knew no bounds. And so she became very admirable, not only to the devatas, But she became admirable to the demons too, for they knew something was happening. Ever see the pregnant lady? Her nose changes. Have you ever seen that? Her cheeks changes. True or not? Oh, you're all making me sound like a professional, huh? Her whole appearance changes. And there is a different glow about her. True or not? She begins to glow while the baby begins to grow. While there is growth, there is this glow that comes. And so, Aditi, noticeable, what will happen? The Katha continues to tell us. Listen. Sri Paramatmane Nama Govinda Nama Narayanaya Vidmai Vasudevaya Dhime Tanno Vishnu Prachodyat. Om Sri Paramatmane Nama Om Sri Govinda Nama. कुछ समय बाद का भगवान विष्णु का अदिति का पुत्र रूप देखकर जन्म लिया उसके हैं। कुछ समय का भगवान विष्णु का अदिति का पुत्र रूप में जन्म लिए हैं। एक बार बुलांग करने वाले उसके कागोश देखकर निर्धन हो विशेष का किस लिया बात कुछ का दे करने वाले जंगल में जल में ब्रह्मा वामन का रूप करने वाले ब्राह्मण का रूप करने वाले। ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Aditi, she gave birth to Bhagwan Vishnu, and Bhagwan Vishnu came in the form of a being who appeared to be like a dwarf. How can you tell what is a dwarf? A dwarf is what? If you have to describe a dwarf, what will you say? What will you say? How will you describe a dwarf? You all never saw a dwarf? Oh, Ravi say a not so tall person, short. He came in the form of this dwarf, short, but stumpy, moti. Moti means? What moti means? There are many different meanings to the word moti. Moti can be used to describe a gem, a pearl. Do you know? They call it moti ke mal because it is made of pearls. Have you ever heard that before? But moti could mean, you know what? So it might be safe for me to say choti moti. Huh? Short, huh? You're all saying that, not me. Because this is Lord Vishnu you're talking about. And so Aditi named him Vamana. She named and he was known to all the beings as a Brahmana. That is what he was known as a Brahmana. Brahmana means a holy man, a holy being. And so being known as a Brahmana, what will happen? At that time, Raja Bali had arranged that there will be a yagya. Have you ever heard about yagya before? What is yagya? Every day, we're supposed to perform 5 major yagyas in our life. Do you all know? 5 major yagyas. Pitri yagya, Dev yagya. What again? Do you all know the 5 yagyas? I said today, every morning.
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
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 दीनानाथ गोविंदा रास विलोला 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 गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला दीनानाथ गोविंदा रास विलोला 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 गोपाला गोविंदा जय गोविंदा गोपाला जय गोपाला
गोविंदा जय गोविंदा गोपाला जय गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
अनाथ नाथ गोविंदा रास विलोला 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 गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
अनाथ नाथ गोविंदा रास विलोला 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 गोपाला
गोविंदा जय गोविंदा गोपाला जय गोपाला
गोविंदा जय गोविंदा गोपाला जय गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
आनंद रूपा चित चोरा मुरली मनोहर नंद लाला
आनंद रूपा चित चोरा मुरली मनोहर नंद लाला
आनंद रूपा चित चोरा मुरली मनोहर नंद लाला राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
आनंद रूपा चित चोरा मुरली मनोहर नंद लाला
आनंद रूपा चित चोरा मुरली मनोहर नंद लाला
आनंद रूपा चित चोरा मुरली मनोहर नंद लाला
नंदलाला गोपाला जय गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे 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 गोपाला वृंदावन मेरी लाल की जय. We officiate worship to Bhagwan Vishnu. As we take flowers in our hands, we pray. With faith, with love and with devotion, O Bhagwan Vishnu, we once more come knocking at your door. Listen to our prayer. Listen to our petition. We beg of you. Hari Om Sri Ganesha Namah Sri Saraswate Namah Sri Guru Charana Kamalibhyo Govinda Namo Namah. Mokam karoti vachalam pangulam gete girim Yat kripatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vrindavan Meri Lal ki jai. We have applause. We have water snan as we bid our murti. Om Gange Yamuni Seva Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Snanam Snanam Prati Kritam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Do the snan. Om Sri Durasnanam Durasnanam Samarpyami Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Pato Tanurdana Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhutaradravani Tirmatirmama. Om Sri Vishnave Namah. Om Sri Vishnave Namah. Om Sri Vishnave Namah. We offer Vasradhan clothing to you who have blessed us with the gift of clothing. We offer clothing in our worship. May you be pleased with us. Ved Suktam Smayuktam Yagyashama Samanvite Sarve Prade Deva Vasase Prate Kretam Sarvabhushatike Lomya Lakjani Varana Mayupakar Vasram Upavasram Prate Kretam Yagyo Pavitam Paramam Pavitram Stapitam Purusham Tatanye Ayushamugram Pratimunsha Shubram Yagyo Pavitam Balamastu Teja Trayambakam Yajamai Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandana Prityor Mokshamamritat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We offer chandan, we offer perfume. Chandanam Sulavitam Deva Kante Chamuktavani Gopa Sri Paride Vijayate Gopala Chudamani. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Whoever Sindhu bring for mukti, salvation. May you be pleased with us, O Bhagwan Vishnu. We beg of you, listen to our prayer. Om Haridraya Sarva Subhagirani Sarvalankara Muktami Devi Tvam Pratigretam Sindhuram Shobhanam Rakta Sobhagi Sukhavardhanam Kamram Muksharam Cheva Sindhuram Pratigretam Sindhuram Samarpyami Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Strength of us. May you root away all troubles or problems. We offer bail release to these knees, we offer lives at your feet. We offer name leaves. May you take charge and may you ward away sickness and distresses from your partner. We beg of you, O Paramatma, listen to our prayer. Durbadanam samarpyami, bail patram samarpyami, neem patram samarpyami, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. मायाटानि पूजार्थं पुष्पाणि प्रतिगृहीतां पुष्पदानं समर्पयामि आरती ओम यानि कानि जपापानि जन्मन्तर्कृतानि तानि तानि प्रक्षणा प्रक्षणा प्रदे प्रदे दीपं दर्शयामि दीपं समर्पयामि ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
We offer flowers around audience Siddhi Buddhi Prade Devi Bhukti Mukti Pradani Mantra Murti Sara Devi Mahalakshmi Namostute या देवी सर्वभूतेषु महालक्ष्मी रूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः पुष्पदानं समर्पयामि पुष्पदानं प्रतिगृहीताम् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Naivedyam samarpami. We offer this parsad, symbolic of food to you. You have blessed us with many things we ought to be grateful for. And so as an act of gratitude, we have prepared this parsad with faith and with devotion. May you be pleased with us, O Bhagwan. May you be pleased with us. Om Brahmarpanam Brahmaved Brahmagalo Brahmanahutam Brahmagate Nagantavyam Brahmakarma Samarinam Naivedam Nivedyami Naivedam Samarpyami Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Brahmarpanam Mamastu Sri Krishna Arpanam. May you accept our prasad of Bhagwan Vishnu. We beg of you. What can we give to you when everything in this world belongs to you? We offer supplications at thy feet. Be gracious unto us. Tambulam. We offer clove. We offer supari. Bless us with longevity, good health. We beg of you. Pungi palmaya deva nagabalidala yukta. Elan churnatam tambulam prati gretam. Lavam karpur sanyuktam tambulam surapujate. Lavam karpur sanyuktam tambulam prati gretam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We offer drops of water. After we've offered food to you, Bhagwan, we offer water. May you be pleased with us. Om Gangeshta Yamunishchaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Achmanyam Prati Gretam Achmanyam Samarpayami. Dakshina Idanya Gharva Samatagre Bhutasya Jata Patrikayasi Saradharam Prithavinva Dakshina Danam Maham Karikshe Dakshina Danam Samarpayami. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We have applause as we decorate our altar. Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu, Mangalam Garudatvaja, Mangalam Pundarikaksha, Mangalaya Tanu Hari. Pushpadanam Samarpyami, Pushpadanam Pratigreta. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We join in expressions of welcome this evening. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Sitaram, on behalf of the Pandit Sunil Seetahal Maharaj and the Ganesh Utsav Foundation, I warmly welcome one and all to this, our 11th session of this Srimad Bhagwat Saptaha Yagna. As it is, you know, for the past 50 years and before, the Bhagwat was a very popular text. But due to the time and age now, it is a very difficult to host a Bhagwat. So when you hear that someone is having a Bhagwat, it is a golden opportunity for you to try and come, take part, or at least listen to this yagna. Because it is the text that able to help your soul meet Param Atma. It's a teaching of Sri Krishna. So I urge you as a member, as a senior member of the Ganesh Utsav Foundation, to urge you to come. We have 10 more sessions. Please come and join with us and make this a reality, and it will be something good for yourself. It is not for Pandit Sunil and the Ganesh Utsav Foundation. It is for everybody. So we get the opportunity. Please make good use of it. Sitaram.
Kara ho jaye, aarti lijiye. Let us all please stand as we join in the opening aarti. Shubham karotu kalyanam arogyam sukhasamparam amashatro vinashaya deepajotir namostute Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopakumaraya Govinda Namo Namah. Bhagwat Aarti. भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
ये अमर गंतये मुक्ति पंतये पंचम वेद निराला नव ज्योति जगाने वाला।
ये अमर ग्रंथ ये मोक्ति पंथ ये पंचम वेद निराला नव ज्योति जगाने वाला।
हरि ज्ञान यही वरदान यही
हरि ज्ञान यही वरदान यही।
जग की मंगल की आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
ये शांति दीप पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला हरि दर्श दिखाने वाला।
हे शांति पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला हरि दर्श दिखाने वाला।
ये सुख करनी हे दुख हरनी
ये सुख करनी ये दुख हरनी।
ये मधुसूदन की आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
ये मधुर बोल जगपंत बोल सन्माद दिखाने वाला बिगड़ी को बनाने वाला।
ये मधुर बोल जगपंत बोल सन्मान दिखाने वाला बिगड़े को बनाने वाला।
श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही
श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही।
सबकी महिमा की आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम।
जय 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 भागवतम। जय 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 भागवतम।
जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम।
जय 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 भागवतम। जय 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 भागवतम।
हे नंद नंद गोपाल आनंद नंद गोपाल।
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 हे नंद नंद आनंद नंद यदुनंद नंद गोपाल।
हे नंद नंद आनंद नंद यदुनंद नंद गोपाल।
हे नंद नंद आनंद नंद यदु नंद नंद गोपाल नंद नंद गोपाल आनंद नंद गोपाल आनंद नंद गोपाल आनंद नंद गोपाल आनंद नंद अमर गंतये मूर्ति पंतये पंचम वेद निराला नव ज्योति जगाने वाला हरि ज्ञान ही वरदान ही जग की मंगल की आरती
पापियों को पाप से तारती
जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती My obeisance, my adorations at the feet of all our Brahma Devatas. To all of you who have come from far and near, we say welcome. To those who are listening to us, to those who are viewing us via our broadcasts on radio and television, we say welcome as well. And so this evening, as we prepare our minds and our souls to listen to the beautiful Katha, Heart Jod Binti Karo, let us bow our heads in prayer. As we chant mantras of Avaha, invocation, we pray to Paramatma, to Bhagwan. May you sharpen our intellect to receive the lessons that we will learn out of tonight's Katha. We beg of you. Hari Om Viganeshwaraya Varadaya Surapralam Bhodaraya Sakalaya Jagadhitaya Nagasrutyagya Vibhushita Gauri Sutaya Gananatha Namo Namaste Sarvamangala Mangali Shive Sarvati Satike Sharani Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Par Brahma Tasmai Sri Guru Namah Vande Deva Umapatim Surugurum Vande Jagatakaranam Vande Pannagabhushanam Mrigamada Vande Pashunapatim Vande Suru Sushankaranganenam Vande Mukunda Priyam Vande Bhakta Janadhara Kapirara Vande Shiva Shankaram Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Sumiran. Riddhi Siddhi Data Siddha Saran Varan Varena Sumiro Barambar मदन करण की लाल को। गणपति कृपा निदान ज्ञानी कानी आनंद भवन देहु मोहि वरदान वरनु भाषा भाग्यवता। जय शिवानंद कंद भूतनाथ भव्य हरिना भक्ति विषय निर्दान गौरवर्ण मंगल करिना। ब्रज चंद्र मुकुंद ब्रजभूषण दूषण हरिना कठो भाव बैपन चरण शरण नियानि करा। जय 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 जगदीश स्वेद शेष महेश यज महिमा अमित भेद वेद जानत नहीं। देहु मोहि वरदान राधा वरय वरसर प्रेम बरे मुस्कान नित चित में कटे कटे रहे। मोहि चाहिए कछु नाई और वास्तु प्रभु जगत की बसहि रे मन माए या बाकी जानकी सदा। लीन कुटिया गायन की पीछे फिरत वाली बाली लीसा बोर मुकुट सिर परे दरे। कर मुरनी उन्मान शेष मुकुट के पीत पता या छवि सो नंदना बस हुए दे ममऋषि देवा। गुरु पर रज दर्शीष करहु भागवत की कथा जो सुकरेव मुनि कई परीक्षित निरपति सो। श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रजा हरनो रघुबर विमल यश
जोधायक फलदार
बोधहीन तनु जानिके
सुमिरो पवन कुमार
बलभूत विद्या देहु मोहि
हरहु कलेश विकार
वृंदावन कृष्ण चंद्र जी की जय शरणम. Let us clap, let us sing, let us make a joyful noise unto Bhagwan as we join in Kirtan. Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh
गौरी गणेश उमा महेश पार्वती नंदन श्री गणेश
Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh
गौरी गणेश उमा महेश पार्वती नंदन श्री गणेश
Kirtan is one of the ways of preparing your soul for mukti. Kirtan is one of the forms of devotion. When Kirtan is being sung and you clap, it creates a kind of vibration. A kind of joy comes from deep down within you. And so, by clapping, we expel our pap, we expel our sins, the sins we have accumulated. If the person next to you is clapping and you're not clapping, you're in real trouble. You know why? Like a dry sponge will absorb water, you're taking up all their sin. Oh God. Let us join in the Kirtan. And when you clap, don't clap because I'm telling you. Clap because you want to get rid of some of your pap. You want to get rid of some of your sin. Sing with me, everybody. Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh
गौरी गणेश उमा महेश पार्वती नंदन श्री गणेश
Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh
गौरी गणेश उमा महेश पार्वती नंदन श्री गणेश
Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh
शरणं गणेश शरणं गणेश
Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh
शरणं गणेश शरणं गणेश
Shivanandan Ganapati Ganesh
शिवानंदन गणपति गणेश
Shivanandan Ganapati Ganesh Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh
गौरी गणेश उमा महेश पार्वती नंदन श्री गणेश
Lakshmi Ganesh Lakshmi Ganesh
लक्ष्मी गणेश
Uma Ganesh Uma Ganesh
उमा महेश
Parvati Nandan Jai Shri Ganesh
पार्वती नंदन श्री गणेश
Parvati Nandan Jai Shri Ganesh
पार्वती नंदन श्री गणेश
Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh
गौरी गणेश उमा महेश पार्वती नंदन श्री गणेश
Ganenata Gajvarna Ganenata Dinabandhu
गणनाथा गजबरना गणनाथा दीनबंधु
Ganenata Gajvarna Ganenata Dinabandhu
गणनाथा गजबरना गणनाथा दीनबंधु
Moria Deva भगवान की जय। गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा,
गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा,
गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा,
गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा,
गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा,
गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा,
गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा।
गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा।
Bhagwan Vishnu has taken on many manifestations. We have listened to the manifestation of the form of Kurma avatar, the form of the turtle. We have listened to the form of Hayagriv, that form of the human body but with the horse head. We have listened to the form of Vamana. This dwarf-like being, he was, what was the description given? Choti Moti. Choti Moti, Vamana. We have listened to the epic of Matsya avatar, the form of the fish. Bhagwan Vishnu taking the form of the fish. Tomorrow we'll listen to another manifestation of Bhagwan Vishnu in our morning katha. But in the nectar, the very nectar of the Bhagavad, there are many lessons to be learned. And so this evening I've chosen not to read about a manifestation, but to read about a lesson. A lesson so that we can all become better beings. And by becoming better human beings, not Hindu beings, but human beings, then life will be enriched. What is the link between Lord Ganesh and Bhagwan Vishnu? What is the link between Lord Ganesh and Bhagwan Vishnu? I am singing the kirtan of Lord Ganesh in the Bhagwat Yagna. Is it a wrong thing? Is it the right thing? Should we not only sing the praises of Bhagwan Vishnu, Bhagwan Krishna? What is the link between Lord Ganesh and Bhagwan Vishnu? There is a link. The Ishta Devata of Lord Ganesh is Bhagwan Vishnu. But not just Bhagwan Vishnu. Bhagwan Vishnu in the form of Lord Krishna. Lord Ganesh, the remover of all obstacles, created the mantra, the Maha Mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It was created by the God who removes obstacles, to the God who blesses his soul with a safe transition at the time of death across the ocean of Bhausagar. That's why we chant that mantra. We chant that mantra when somebody dies, hoping and praying that the transition will be a peaceful one, because the God who removes obstacles created that mantra to the God who blesses his soul, the manifestation that blesses his soul. Now imagine they're chanting that mantra on your behalf when you're dead. Can you imagine the effect and the impact it will have if you chant the mantra for yourself while you're alive? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the blessing or the merit that will come out of you chanting the mantra on your own? Ganesh Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha,
गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा,
Ganesh Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha,
गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा,
Ganesh Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha,
गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा,
Ganesh Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha.
गणेश शरणं शरणं
Listen to the
गणेशा।
beautiful katha. Om Saraswati Namastubhya Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishami Siddhir-bhavatu me Sara Ajnanam Dimidandasya Jnananam Shanshanagya Chakshudam Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Sardarupena Sanstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya। श्री सुखदेव उवाचा, जिसमें पहले का सुंदर कथा तुंगभज का नदी का पार बहुत नगरी है, जिसमें का नगरी आत्मा देव का नाम बहुत का ज्ञानी ब्राह्मण रहता तथा है, वह बहुत का दानी तथा उन्होंने का विवाह का धुंधली नाम का एक और सुंदर पत्नी का उन्होंने का, जिसमें का पास हमेशा का अपने तीर होते हैं, अपने तीर होते हैं। धुंधली का जन्मा की पवित्र दे आसन होते करने उन्होंने का, लेकिन बहुत का चलते चलते उन्होंने का है। ग्रामली का बाजार होते सिर्फ के कुछ अच्छा पवित्र पैर होते करने वाले। महालपते का या नहीं का वीर अच्छा है, अच्छा है। गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा,
गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा,
गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा।
गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा.
The Katha tells us at one time, living on the banks of a river called the Tungabhadra. Tungabhadra is the name of the river. Living on the banks of the river, in a wonderful town, in a beautiful city, there lived a very knowledgeable Brahmana whose name was Atma Dev. And Atma Dev, he was not only knowledgeable, he was very wealthy. The Brahmana was very wealthy. For some strange reason, many people think that the holy people, they are wealthy. In the Ramayana, Ravan, he thought of teaching a lesson to all of the people who lived there in Lanka. And who did he attack? Who did he attack? He attacked the saints and the sages and the rishis and the brahmanas and the holy people. And what he wanted from them? He wanted their money. He wanted their wealth because he thought that their wealth was their source of happiness. But indeed, their wealth was a part of their happiness, but not their sole source of being happy. Their sole source of being happy was the bhakti, the devotion that they had towards Bhagwan. And Ravan started to behead the brahmanas, thinking that when they will bring plenty jewelry. He made a law that they must bring all their wealth. And they brought little or nothing, zero. And this upset him, right? So Ravan started to behead them and collect their blood in a gut, in a pot. But then in the night, Ravan got a dream. The blood in this pot will cause your demise. Get rid of it and stop your evil ways. And so Ravan sent the pot far away. Can you remember the Katha? And buried it in a different city, in a different town, securing life for himself because he did not want to die. And then many weeks after, the Raja of that place was plowing and he stumbled on the ghat, he stumbled on the pot. And out of that blood, the blood of the holy people, Janki, Sita will be born, Mother Sita, the Ramayana says. Atma Dev, he was not just very knowledgeable, but Atma Dev, he was very wealthy. And so Atma Dev, unke ka vivaah bulad karte hain. देखो धुंधुली का नाम पत्नी है, सुंदर पत्नी उसने का पास गया होते हैं, कुछ का तीर होते हैं, धुंधुली का जन्मा की पवित्र हो दे करने हैं. Atma Dev was married to a being and his wife's name was Dunduli. Listen to the name of the wife, Dunduli. Dunduli, when you do the translation for the name Dunduli, it means troublesome, quarrelsome, angry-some, aggravated some. It means all of those things. Dunduli. This was the aura that she possessed. And so she was Sundar. Sundar means she was beautiful in looks, but she was not beautiful in ways. Calm. She was not beautiful in ways. What makes you beautiful? I'm coming outside in a rush just now, and I see somebody by the table putting powder. And I look at her and I say, so much powder you're putting on a mask? She said, no, you know why they make makeup? I said, why? She said, to hide God breakup. She looked at me, she said, they make makeup to hide God breakup. There is no amount of makeup you can use to hide the negative qualities and tendencies that you have in you. And when how you try to hide these qualities, a day and a time will come when these qualities present themselves. Because it is who you are. It is a part of who you are. And so, Atma Dev, having all of this wealth and having this very beautiful wife, she was beautiful in looks but not in... Say that with me. She was beautiful in looks but not in... Do you want to be beautiful in looks and not in ways? Beauty is not in the way you look. I'm going to say that again. Beauty is not in the way that you look, but beauty is in the way that you portray yourself. Beauty is in the humility that you have. Clothes enhances your appearance, but your beauty enhances your elegance. To be elegant is to be beautiful. To be elegant is to be graceful. Something that is graceful. When you think about grace, grace itself means beauty, isn't it? And so Dunduli, having all of these qualities, she was born into a noble family. And so all of her relatives, they were nice, pious, noble, quiet people. But Dunduli, she made up all of them by the way she behaved. And so Dunduli and Atma Dev, there was something about their union that stood out. What is it? Listen, it tells us. फिर का आत्मा देव उन्हों का बुला करते हैं, जिसमें तथा का बहुत कुछ, लेकिन आत्मा देव चिंता का भार होने करने, निर्धन हो, अज्ञान हो, देख और संतान नहीं होते। ओ सकृति का सारी संपत्ति का उदार लेकिन है गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा श्री राम शरणम शरणम श्री रामा शरणं शरणं श्रीरामा श्रीकृष्ण शरणं शरणं श्रीकृष्ण श्रीकृष्ण शरणं शरणं श्रीकृष्ण श्री दुर्गा शरणं शरणं श्री दुर्गा 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 Atma Dev and Dunduli, they got along very well. Atma Dev and Dunduli, they got along very well. And you know what? What made them get along well? Atma Dev was very quiet and Dunduli was rowdy. Have you ever heard the definition that they say you can't put two Borat to live in the same hole? Have you ever heard? What will happen? Huh? That's why when you're getting married, you don't get married based on who you love. Because love isn't always what you consider it to be. It isn't always love. It is lust sometimes. And the things that you lust after a while, it becomes irritating. It becomes frustrating. That's why before you got married long ago, you went to the Pandit and you said, Baba, let's check the Ganna. Ganna means the planets, to see how they align. And so if the union will be a good one, where there will be some kind of understanding and compromise. But now we no longer check Ganna. You know what we check? Manna. You know what's Manna? Huh? And we're thinking about Motoba. Motoba. You know what's Moto? Your kana. The kind of car you're driving. Garbha. Garbha means your kind of house. Huh? Sonabha. The kind of jewelry that you wear. And you're checking all of the material things, but you're not thinking about the connectivity, the connection. If it will really work, if there will be any kind of good reasoning that will come out of the relations. And so Atma Dev, he was always very quiet, and Dunduli, she was always very rowdy. This did not make him upset. What made him upset is that they were unable to have children. This is what made them upset. And the Katha says, Dunduli was compared, or the definition that is given directly out of the book says, Dunduli was barren. Barren. Have you ever heard that word before, barren? Barren is a term that is used to describe the cow. Huh? The cow. The cow is referred to as being barren. Why? Because the cow can't make any, there are no offsprings that will come out of the cow. And so the definition gives that Dunduli, she's compared to be like that of a barren cow, barren. She's unable to bring forth children. And so this made Atma Dev very unhappy. The quarreling didn't make him unhappy. The thought of not having a child made him unhappy. You know, some people like quarrel. And if it have no quarrel, they do something, they ensure that it have some kind of quarrel. Huh? And then shaking his head. The two are there. Shaking their head. Dunduli. Listen to what it says. फिर भी का आत्मा देव उसके कारण देखो जागृत की उन्हें करने वाली जिसमें का धुंधुली का बहुत कुछ लेकिन करने आत्मा देव का चिंता हो क्या होते हैं देखो की जंगल में रक्षा होते जंगल में रक्षा होते देखो नदी की आस्थान होते जिसमें का पहले बहते गए साधु की प्रकट होते करने आत्मा देव की पूछने जिसमें का रक्षा हो करने उन्हों का साथ नहीं और उनके का पत्नी रोने तीर ऋषि का पल दिया होते जिसमें का निर्देश दिया की पवित्र का हो जगरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय She started to quarrel, she started to argue with Atma Dev, and in the dead of the night he's tired, he needs rest. Hearing the quarrel, hearing the argument, he chooses to walk away. A strong person never stands up to reply. A strong person bends his head or her head and walk away in humility. But I don't know about you, I'm not too strong. I'm on the pathway to attaining strength. I'm not strong. Confession is good, huh? Confession is good. And whether how much I try, I say this all the time, huh? I say this all the time. Whether how much I try, the connection between my brain and my mouth, something is off with the wiring. Because you know why? Sometimes as soon as I think it, it flies out. And then I say, oh God, did I say that? Did I just say that? Earlier today, I had the privilege of officiating at the funeral of one of my uncles. And one of my cousins, who I didn't see for a long, long time, he and I was going up in the elevator together. And I looked at him. I say, you're welcome to the funeral. He said, you too. I said, so when last you see uncle? He said, long time. I said, so where you come now for? He said, well, when last you went? I said, well, coincidentally, I went last week. And so I saw him and I was able to talk with him and he looked at me and he said, over glad to see you. I said, well, me and what are you going to say about you? I don't know what he want to tell you. And then when I went upstairs, I thought to myself, maybe I should not have said that to him. Maybe I should not have uttered those words. Maybe I should have just remained quiet. The connection, you see? The connection. Something is off with the wiring. I'll have to probably go and check out the wiring. Dunduli started to quarrel and she started to argue and she started to fight. And so Atma Dev chose Shanti. Shanti means peace. So he went out into the bushes. And so he sat quietly on the banks of the river, because they live on the banks of the river. And so gazing at the flow of the water, he tried to maintain calmness. Have you ever looked at or listened to the water falling? It creates a sense of calmness, isn't it? And so, creating this calmness, he sat there. Aimlessly, he sat there. Have you ever just sat aimlessly with no aim? Ever sat with no aim? Nothing to do? So you just sit down. They say, you call somebody and you say, what you doing? You say, I just lull off here. So you have nothing to do? Nothing to do and nobody to do it with. So I'm just here, sitting there, presenting itself or presenting himself to Atma Dev is a sadhu. But the sadhu is very old and frail and could hardly walk. And the sadhu seeing Atma Dev, the sadhu immediately recognized who Atma Dev is. And so seeing Atma Dev, the sadhu asked, he says, tell me, what are you doing here? What are you doing here sitting in the dark by yourself? And Atma Dev replies, Rishi ne usne ka pal diya, dekor ka unhone ka santan nirdan ho, apne ka patni rode tere, om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. He says, my wife is a rowdy, and so she's creating noise. And so I came here for some peace, but I'm unhappy. Not because of her noise, but because we can't have children. I'm unhappy. And the sadhu hearing this, the old sadhu, he then does something. Dekor sadhu use ka pal diya, dekre ka nirdan ho diya, dekor pavitra ka gaya hote ye, bagar ka puchne isne ka ho gaya, jante ka ghasme tir rahe, Sri Paramatmani Namah. The old sadhu dipped his hand down in his bag and he pulled out a pal. Pal means pal. What is a pal? Mera pal pal beeta jaye mukh se japne namah shivaya. By chanting the name of Lord Shiva, pal, fruits will come. Om namah shivaya. Om namah shivaya. A pal means a fruit. And so pulling out this fruit, the fruit looked appetizing. You ever see a fruit and you feel to eat it? Ever got a big rosy fruit and you paid a lot of money for it and it's rosy outside, and when you go home and you cut it, it's black inside? No use. The sadhu pulled out the fruit, and as the sadhu presented the fruit to Atma Dev, he says, take this fruit to your wife now, in the raat, in the night, and feed it to her as prasad. And so she will bring forth a child into the world. This is my promise, this is my vow. Atma Dev is happy. And so he rushes home with his fruit. But there is one problem. Dunduli is asleep. Can you imagine she's rowdy when she's awake? Now she's asleep and you have to wake her up. Can you imagine what will happen? What do you think will happen? The Bhagwat says, Vagasme tirhe. Vagasme. She becomes very furious. Not just angry, She becomes furious. She's fuming, Gasme. And looking at Atma Dev in anger, Atma Dev presents the fruit and tells the kahani. The kahani means the story. He tells the story. But she has a plan in her mind. She knows that the old sadhu giving this fruit, the fruit will bring forth children. She knows this. Whether what her situation is, she knows this. And so, holding this fruit in her hand, a thought goes through her mind. Listen to what. Vaka santandi dekol chalte ka apne ka manush ka bahut sakte ka tir karne Sri Paramatmani Namah. In her mind she's thinking, I don't want to have children. And you know why she doesn't want to have children? Because she's very conscious about how body looks. And if she has a child, then it will change the appearance of her body and it will spoil her beauty. This is what she's thinking. This is how she's thinking. And thinking like that tells the kind of person she is, isn't it? Thinking like that tells the kind of person that she is. And so thinking like this, she waits until Atma Dev will exit the room, but Atma Dev is not leaving. You know why? He wants to see her eat it. He wants to see her eat the fruit. You ever carry some food for somebody who is sick maybe, and you say to them, I want you to drink this hot soup now. And they say, well, just now I will get up in 5 minutes. And you say, I'm not leaving here no, until you eat this. I'm not moving from here. Get up and sit down now. Well, if you have me to deal with when you're sick, you get better by force. Huh? Because I'm dragging you off the bed and dragging you everywhere. And I'm making sure you get better, you know. And so, she refuses to eat the pulse. She refuses to eat the food. He sits there. She goes back to sleep, holding the fruit in her hand. But she doesn't eat it. And then, as morning will come, a visitor comes to the home of Atma Dev and Dunduli. Who is this visitor? Listen, it tells us. Sing with me, everybody. Bolo Shri Sitaram, 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 Jai Siyavar Ram. Bolo.
Sitaram, 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 Jai Siyavar Ram.
Bolo Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Jai Siyavar Ram. Bolo.
Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Jai Siyavar Ram.
Bolo Sitaram, 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 Jai Siyavar Ram.
Sitaram, 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 Jai Siyavar Ram.
श्री परमात्मने नमः, गोविंदा नमः। डुंडुली का अपने का बान कर दे, सुनतर करने उसके का बान सला दे। वामे बच्चे का उन्होंने का रहते तीर, जिसका पल का बचे होते वा बच्चे का डुंडुली का गीर बले डुंडुली का अपने चोते भान का बहुत करने ही देख और पल का गई हो भोग दिया होते। बोलो सीताराम सीताराम सीताराम, जय सियावर राम।
सीताराम सीताराम सीताराम, जय सियावर राम।
बोलो राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम, जय सियावर राम।
राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम, जय सियावर राम।
Coincidentally, Dunduli's smaller sister visits them early in the morning. But there is something noticeable about Dunduli's sister. She's pregnant, she's in family way. And so Dunduli is seeing a pregnant sister, knowing that her sister has many children already. Dunduli plots a plan in her mind. And she sits down and she has a discussion with her sister. She says, listen, you already have plenty children and I have no children. And so an old sadhu gave this pun and said that if I eat it, I will bring forth a child. But I don't want to bring forth a child because I don't want my body, the appearance of my body to be changed. Can you help me? At the right price, I will pay you. Can you give me your baby when the baby is born? And Dunduli and her sister, they sat down and they started to plot. And so Dunduli decided that her sister will move in and live with her. And so then Dunduli, she will pretend that she is pregnant and her stomach will appear to be huge, just as though she is carrying a baby. And so the sister will live there. And then when the time of birth comes, both of them will go into labor at the same time. One baby will die and one baby will live. And Dunduli's sister will have no child and Dunduli will have a child. You think Choti Bahu started on the television? Huh? You think this kind of kahani started on the television? Listen to the gyan. Listen to listen to what is happening. And so pretending now that she was pregnant, both of them came to the conclusion they must get rid of the fruit. So you know what they did? Both of them tossed the fruit in the goshala. Goshala means the cow pen. And the cow ate of the fruit. And so as the cow ate of the fruit, the cow became impregnated. As the cow is now pregnant, Dunduli is pregnant and her sister is pregnant. Well, Dunduli is pretending to be pregnant. And now, Atma Dev's happiness knows no bounds. He's happy beyond happy. And so Atma Dev, what will happen? Listen, something is about to happen. Bolo Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jai Siyavar Ram.
Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jai Siyavar Ram.
Bolo Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Jai Siyavar Ram.
Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Jai Siyavar Ram.
परमात्माय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। या बच्चे का धुंधुली का गीत बेद करने वाले, धुंधुली का अपने का चोते बच्चा होते, देख और गो का पल दिया भो करने वाले। धुंधुली भना का सुंदर पुत्र की, नाम उसके का पुत्र धुंधुली का दिया। बच्चे का नाम धुंधुकारी का राका गया होते, राका गया होते। श्री परमात्मने नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The time came when Dunduli's sister was experiencing great pain, and so she was about to give birth. Dundulu pretended that she was having pain too. Have you ever pretended that you're having pain? Hello? You ever pretend you're having pain? Trinidadians, we all pretend. We pretend all kind of thing. You pretend you're sick. You call the boss and you say, boss, I can't come to work. I'll give you an example. There is somebody who went with me for the day, the puja. And that person called in work and said, I'm sick. And it coincidentally happened that I had a funeral in a crematorium. And the funeral was in the night time when that person was supposed to be on shift. And after we did the funeral, coming home, the boss calls. And the boss says, I thought you're sick. And he said, but yes, I'm sick. And the boss said, but I could swear I just see somebody like you with a pundit in a funeral by the crematorium. Me? Not me. You is see good. But is a person looking just like you. I'm sure I could almost be certain it was you. Not me. I am feeling good. I am sick, lying under my blanket. And I'm saying, what is the need to lie? Because if you were already seen, you were seen. How much people could be ugly like you? How much people could look like you? How much people could have your height and your size and your way of moving and mannerism? How much people? So it is easy to identify it was you. So just tell the truth. And if you tell the truth in the first place, then you have nothing to be worried about. The poor lady hung up the phone. And 10 minutes after she called back, because you know, like her mind playing trick on her. You're sure it wasn't you? And then the person saying, no, I real sure. You sure you see me? I'm sick. I'm tired and I'm sick. I lie down here. I really can't come to work. Dunduli begins to pretend that she's having pain. She's about to give birth. And so Dunduli falls on the ground and she's rolling and Atma Dev doesn't know what to do. So he gets the midwife, and as the midwife comes, both wives about to give birth, they take Atma Dev and they put him out of the room and they close the door. It wasn't like now, you know. I want to tell you that our interpretation of what birth is not what birth is supposed to be. Husbands and fathers to be, I want you to listen to what I'm saying. You'll get vexed because you never like to hear the truth. The truth always sounds like something being stuck in your ears that will cause pain. But there is no two ways in telling the truth and telling you the right thing by just telling you, I have to tell you. You should not be present when the baby is being born. Fathers should never be present when the baby is being born. Unless proper checking happens and your pundit clarifies and gives you the okay that it is a good time. Scripture has declared that if that baby is being born in a bad time and father witnesses the birth of the child, death could come to the family. Not just the one generation, but the many generations. Loss of wealth could come. Loss of health could come. Fire can burn down the house. Many different things scripture says can happen. Especially if the child is born under the nakshatra, the moon of that sign that is called Mool Nachatra. Mool Shanti has to be done, and so a special puja has to be done so that the father can see the child, but the father will only be able to see the child when a glass, a mirror, a looking glass is placed in a thali filled with mustard oil. And so mother holds the baby over her shoulder, and father for the first time glimpses the child through the mustard oil on that glass in the thali over the shoulder. That's the first viewing that you get of the child. But it only happens after the purification time. Only after the children and the mother is pure. And they call it Mool Shanti. And if not Mool Shanti, well then Jaya Bhi Akela. All kinds of things happen in the family. Such is the details that come out of scripture. It is so detailed that it tells you everything. It explains everything to you. But you know, we convenient, huh? We selective. It doesn't happen and then we check. You have 80 years and you say, Baba, check and see if I have a Rasi. Check and see, where is my Rasi name? I say, oh God, you have to go back in the book from 80 years now to find your Rasi. You tell somebody, what's your Rasi name? They say, where is that? Where is that? Thing to know, we don't know, you know. You all know that? The things that you're supposed to know, you don't know. And the thing not to know, oh God. You know that real good. Atma Dev is locked out. And as Atma Dev is locked out, the cries of the baby could be heard. Atma Dev is happy. Atma Dev is knocking on the door. He wants to go in. And the midwife is only saying to him, wait. The midwife has been given all the information. She has been given all the information about the plan. And so she's a part of the plan too. The midwife comes out and she's crying. And she looks at Atma Dev and she says, you're hearing the baby? But we have a problem. Your sister-in-law's baby died. And so she's in a bad state. You can't go in there as yet. Your baby is healthy and find the name for your child. You sit down and find the name for the child. And Atma Dev goes and using the time of birth, he finds the appropriate name. And he names the son Dundukari. Dundukari is the name that he gives to his son. But as the midwife takes the bowl, after washing the mother, she goes to the back and the cow is giving birth. When the midwife sees the offspring that comes from the cow, the midwife faints away. Why? The cow has given birth to a baby boy, but this baby boy has the ears that resembles that of the cow, but the body of a human. The midwife, when she gets up, seeing this again, the midwife takes the baby and passes the baby through the window into the room with Dunduli. And as the midwife goes back inside, the midwife says, what will we do? I have already given the news that one of the baby has died. Now we have two babies. What are we going to say? And so the midwife comes back out and the midwife says to Atma Dev, I have news for you. Is everything okay with the baby? And the midwife said, yes. But Dunduli didn't have one child. She had two children. Go check the next name. By checking, not seeing the child, Atma Dev goes to check. And Atma Dev gets the name for his second son. And he names him Gokaran. But when Atma Dev sees the child, the name matches the appearance of the child. Gokaran means the one with the ears of a cow. Gokaran. Now Gokaran and Dundukari, they are brothers. One is born of the womb of the sister of Dunduli, and one was born from the womb of the cow. Both boys, they're supposed to be twins. They're supposed to be twins. Both boys, they're supposed to be twins. You know much people supposed to be brother and sister and they're enemies? You know much people supposed to be brother and they're worst enemies? You know much husband and wife supposed to be best friends? Because there was a time it was Coach Hota here. and they're enemies. They're living in the same house, and when they go out, you see them, he bringing food for her and combing her hair. And when they're home, you'd never know they don't talk to one another. They pretend very well. You'll never know. And then one day when the wife or the husband can no longer take it and tells this story, you say, really? I can't believe that. That's not true. But the man, they stick out your food and feed you and think, you never see how much he's feed me. He want to choke me. That's what he want to do. Having two sons now, Atma Dev and Dunduli has two sons, Gokaran and Dundukari. It gives a synopsis of the values and the morals of both sons. उसने एक समय का गई सुंदर की बालक होते करनी जन्मा का नेक सिद्धा का अशवार हो गया का साथ में पीर उन्होंने का दे गोकरण की ब्राह्मण देवता की विप्र रूप करने वाले और दुंदुकारी का रोग ढोक करने देखो रोग हे श्री परमात्मने नमः. Gokaran, the child that came from the cow, he became a Vipra. Vipra means Vipra. Vipra. He became a Vipra. Vipra means a Pandit, a holy man, a man who believes in scripture and principles and religion and God, and karma. And Dundukari, he became a rogue. Rogue means what? Rogue. Don't care nothing. Don't care nothing. Rogue. He became a rogue. Rogue means that he's the opposite of holy. What's the opposite of holy? Let me answer. Unholy. Gokaran was charitable. What is the opposite of uncharitable? Let me answer. Stingy. And so both of them, they were totally opposite to each other. And so because of this, they never agreed with each other. Ever had two children and both of them always fighting with each other? They're always fighting with each other. My brother said to me, he said, you could fight with me, you know. I said, why? He said, because we're really not related. Mommy didn't tell you? I said, what? What? What is there to tell? Well, you fall along from a coconut tree. That's where you came from. Do you know at one point in time I really believed that? Because of the conviction in which he said that to me, I almost believed what he was saying. Until one day I said, Ma, I fall from a coconut tree. She said, behave yourself and move from me. You know that's how mothers reply when they don't want to answer. And so, they never agreed with each other. One followed the pathway of dharam and the other followed the pathway of adharam. And so both of them, they never agreed with each other. But what will happen? Listen. देखो धुंधुकारी का रोग जिसमें का पहली सारी का चुनरिया का देने वाले माता की अंधकार होते श्री परमात्मने नमः. The time came when Dundukari was loved by Dunduli and Gokaran was loved by Atma Dev. Why? Parents, do you love both children equally? Don't answer. Please, nobody answer, especially on the stage. Maybe I should have asked that question tomorrow night when my mother is here. Atma Dev loved Gokaran because Gokaran was holy and Dundukari was loved by Dunduli. Because you know why? Rowdy just like her, behaved just like her, had all the traits of her. So she loved this child. And so, Dundukari, being loved by his mother, she supported him in all the evil things that he did. And so he started to gamble. And so he gambled all of her chunariya. Chunariya means his, Churya. What is churya? What is Churya? Huh? All of her gold, all of her jewelry. He gambled away everything. And so having no more, he started to gamble her sari. What is sari? Her clothes. And gambling away everything. Gokaran will bring and Dundukari will carry, give away, gamble away, lose everything. You have one child that will be very conservative. And you have one child who care nothing. Spend his own, her own, everybody own, don't care. And so, Dunduli, unable to bear the shame of the behavior of her son, Dunduli made her way to the well. And Dunduli jumped into the well. Giving up her existence because she could no longer bear it. Because the son that she loved tugged her, beated her, abused her. Because a gambler doesn't care what they have to do to get something to gamble. Do you know? You ever see how an addict behaves? Have you ever seen how an addict behaves? Huh? In every village, there is a man who will come to clean the yard and do the little menial things. Huh? You ain't don't tell him what to do and he don't do it because you know why? He wants the money. He can't get the money fast enough. And you know why he wants the money? You know what he wants to buy? Cindy, what do you want to buy? And then you go and you tell him, well, you ain't do it good. Come, let's do it over. And he said, nah, boss. I will come back. But give me half of the money now. You ever hear how they operate? You ever? She jumped into the well and she gave up her existence. And so now in her absence, Dundukari acted just like his mother and took control of the Gar, took control of the Parivar, the family. Look who is taking control. Not the quiet one, the rowdy one. The first thing Dundukari does is he throws Atma Dev and Gokaran out. And they have nowhere to live. And having nowhere to live, एक दिन का दुंदुकारी का घर में साथ उन्हों का देखकर गोकरण की आत्मा देव की चलते हैं देखकर साथ साथ का उनका आत्मा देव का मांगते करने हैं आत्मा देव का पास लिया कुछ नहीं का दुंदुकारी का विष्णु है श्री परमात्मने नमः. They have nowhere to live, so they go in the forest. They go in the forest and they begin to live. Eating fruits from trees and sheltering under trees, and this is where they go to live. And going there to live, what will happen? Dundukari, he is now in love. He's in love with a girl who has no virtue. Mothers, they instill good virtues into their daughters. You know how? You know how? When they buy a short pants for their daughter, they buy a shorter one for themselves. That's how. You know how? Because they teach their daughter, stand up, stand up for yourself. You is the boss. Anybody tell you anything, you just level them. And then a day come when you get level and you know and you say, I can't believe I get put in my place. When you feel like put in your place, now start. When you reach in your place, you wouldn't even know. Long ago, a daughter-in-law entering into a new family, you had to wear orni. You all know that? Don't know about that? And the minute you get married and you go into the family, the mother-in-law get the man to come and put a tattoo on your hand. A godina. You all know about that? Huh? And until you don't have that mark, the mark of marriage, your mother-in-law and father-in-law not drinking nothing from you. Because anybody who sees this mark, the sindoor could wash out, but the tattoo can't wash out. See how smart they were? So it was an identification. And then, based on how much children you had, they will put dots here. And so it was symbolic of how much children you have. So anybody see you and they see this mark, they know you're married. And when they watch here, they say, children. And sometimes this hand wasn't good enough, so they had to put on this hand too. Huh? Because some people had 21 children and thing, you all know? Didn't have too much TV and thing, 21 children. Think about it. Dundukari, throwing them out, both of them, they entered into the forest and they started to live, and they were contented because they were holy people. And so eating little, they enjoyed peace and happiness away. But Dundukari, he was in love. And this girl that he was in love with, देखो राजा की जिसमें का चोरिया करने, देखो की धुंधुकारी का पूछने करने, देखो सोना की गए होते, सोना गए होते. She had her eyes on something. You know what she had her eyes on? She had her eyes on the golden crown that the Raja, the king, wore. And she says to him, if you really love me, you will go and get that crown. You'll go and thief that crown for me. And then you will prove that you really love me. What you have to do to prove that you love somebody? Hello? What you have to do to prove that you love somebody? Amir, what you have to do to prove? You say flowers. Boy, they don't only carry flowers to people they love, They carry for dead people too. That ain't proving nothing. And actually, after a few hours, the flower's dead too. True or not? I have an aunt, she's here, right? My poor uncle will go, and when it's Valentine's, he'll buy her flowers and maybe more than one and bring it for her. And instead of looking at the flowers and saying, well, it's symbolic of love, she said, I can't eat that. Where you buy that for? Next time you have to buy something to cook so all of we could eat and be happy. The man go and he buys something to cook, and then next Valentine's I say, what you get? He buy thing to cook now? I ain't even get flowers. How can you please? Will you ever be able to please? Is it possible to please? There is no amount of anything that you can give to bribe anybody into loving you. And let me say that again. Because the day you can't give, you know what happened? If they're staying with you genuinely because of what you can give, then they will find somebody else who could give them. A relationship should not be built on anything that is material. But the connection must be deeper than material. The connection should be built on trust. Trust is the main ingredient. Trust is the bowl, the vessel that everything is based on. If you have to make a cake and you have no bowl, what will happen? What will happen? Can you make a cake? If there is no trust in the relationship, then what kind of relationship is that? You know what flowers go do? Huh? Nothing. He followed the instruction because he's blinded by lust. And he goes into the kingdom. But as he picks up the crown, you know what happened? He gets caught. And they beat him to death. He's a chore, he's a thief. Not knowing who he is, they beat him to death. And they take his body and they feed the body to the animals. They put it for the animals to eat. Atma Dev and Gokaran has heard of what has happened. And though he has treated them how he treated them, both of them, they are deeply affected. Whether how bad somebody is, when you hear they're dead, you know you feel sorry for them. True or not? That's true or not? So why you can't feel sorry for them when they're living? Why they have to be dead for you to feel sorry for them? We need to change that though. We need to change that. When you're done there, they say, oh God, well you know, I go buy the clothes to him. Why you don't buy clothes while they're living? Why don't you? I go help you pay for the bandara. I go buy all the things to make the pinda. Why don't you buy something and give it to the person while they're alive? Huh? Why don't you do that? Do something special for them while they're alive. Everybody rushing. All of a sudden, all the son and daughter resurrect from where they was buried under some rock somewhere. And everybody reach up and everybody want to do and everybody want to take charge. When mother's suffering and pampers on, nobody coming to clean and wipe and do it. When you're done dead now, well, my pundit had to do it, huh? Because I taken part and I'm my pundit. No pundit can do nothing at that point. You're done dead. If you didn't pray while you were living, nothing you can do will be of any aid. Pray while you're alive is the most foolish thing I've ever heard in my whole life. And if me and God, and there are conditions, you know. If you do it how me and taking part, well, don't take part. Whether you take part or you didn't take part, it will still happen. Atma Dev and Gokaran, they affected hearing about it. They were thrown out. They were thrown out. They were treated in the worst of ways. But they're feeling sorry for him. And feeling sorry for him, what will happen? They plot a plan. Atma Dev and Gokaran, they plot a plan. They will pray on behalf of the soul of Dundukari. They will pray. What will they do? Listen. Sukhdev Muni is telling. Bolo Shri Sitaram, 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 Jai Siyavar Ram. Bolo.
Sitaram, Sitaram.
Clap your hands with me, everybody. Let's clap.
Sitaram, Jai Siyavar Ram.
Bolo Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Jai Siyavar Ram. Bolo.
Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Jai Siyavar Ram.
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो, मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो,
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो, मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो,
गोविंद 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 बोलो,
गोविंद 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 बोलो,
गोविंद 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 बोलो,
गोविंद 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 बोलो,
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो,
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो,
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो। आत्मा देव के पास उनका करने वाली देखो और ब्रह्म देवता की आसन कर दे, गोकरण की वचन भागवत की कथा देखो और मनुष्य का रूप लिया करने, जिसमें का आत्मा शरीर का भिंती करने देखो और मुक्ति का द्वार होते, आत्मा का आसन बेते देखो और झंडा उतर बेते हैं, देखो और प्रार्थना की सप्ताह का कथा उन्हों का वचन देने वाले देखो और जोर का अश्वार आसन बिनती है, देखो और आत्मा की मुक्ति द्वार करने भागवत कथा हो सुंदर है। मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो, मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो। They decide that they will do the Bhagavad Katha. They decide that they will do the Bhagavad Katha. They can't afford. They have nothing. They're living in the forest, right? They can't afford. So they have decided that Gokaran will read of the Bhagavad. He will read the Katha, and so they make preparations. And then while the narrations of the Bhagavad is happening, then everybody knowing about the Bhagavad, they start bringing to contribute to the Bhagavad. And Atma Dev, he's forced to construct a tent. He's forced to construct a tent. And so using the bamboo rods, he builds a tent. Do you know long ago, if there was a wedding, you had to build a tent with bamboo? Do you know if there was a funeral, you build a tent with a bamboo? Do you know if you were having a party, you build a tent with a bamboo? Do you know that just in case you bought a new car, you build a tent with a bamboo and park the car under there? Do you know? Have you ever experienced the bamboo tent with a tarpaulin? Have you? Sintra will tell you that when Aji died, the night after the cremation, everybody decided to spend the night. And the rain was falling non-stop, and there was a yellow tarpaulin used to make the tent. They formulated a plan. Her sister, the elder one, formulated a plan. She's going to put on Aji dress and Aji urni, and hold a torchlight and walk through. And then we plotted a plan that while she is walking through, we must do something that will create some kind of noise. So we'll go outside and we'll choke the water that is accumulated. And so the water will fall with force and wake up everybody, and then they will see Aji. And you know what will happen? Then they might die too. And so the plan was plotted, and she looks just like Aji, Choti Moti. And so they put the urni and everything and the torchlight, and they go out. And you know who they put the chocolate tent? The most idle person, me. I go outside with the broom, you know the broom with the handle? And she say, chuk! And as I push the thing, the bamboo tilted and the whole tent come collapsing, boom, on the ground. I dash across the road and jump over the gate and go in my bed and pull the sheet over, and I soak in wet. Soaking wet. Because I'm living over the road. What happened after, I don't know. I have no clue what happened after. But I know what happened during. The bamboo tent was excitement. There was some level of camaraderie that happened. In the construction of the tent, everybody got together. We had that. We had that. We had that. You know how? I insisted that they put jandi coming from Kwaito. Did you all see the jandi? From miles away, there are jandis. The ladies of the group, they sew maybe 40, 50 jandi each. Can you imagine how much effort it is to sew those flags and to plant them from quite where you are seeing them? Have you seen the flags? From up on the hill, when you look, there is a towering flag of Lord Hanuman. And standing next to that towering flag is a flag of Bhagwan Krishna. Did you all see it? A huge flag. Jenny Nanny didn't bring the flag. But it is up. It's there. Did you all see it? This is what Yagna and Bhagwat was long ago. Where everybody will get together and with team, with effort. They call it Panchaiti. Where everybody gets together. You never went there with your hands swinging, you know. Everybody who went to the Bhagwat carried something. Chana, pumpkin, salt, sugar, ghee, something. Because you know why? They knew that this was an investment in their soul. And their soul will reap the merit out of the gifts that they give in the Bhagwat. Especially when there is a Bhagwat, you're supposed to take, you're supposed to carry. Especially when there is a Bhagwat Yagna. Because it's an investment you're making in your soul, for your soul. And so, sitting and expounding on the Katha, what will happen? The Atma. Atma means the soul. The Atma of Dundukari came and sat in one of the Janda. Janda means the bamboo rod. And so every time a canto means a chapter came to an end, one of the bamboo joint will explode. And so after 7 days, the 7th joint exploded and the bamboo split open. And Dundukari's soul stood in front of Atma Dev and Gokaran and bowed to them. Why? Through your past noble deeds, you have afforded unto my soul mukti, salvation. Despite all the evil, crooked thing I have done, I thank you, I thank you. In this yagna, I've been questioned a million times. Why should we put bamboo up on the altar? Why? It's spoiling the decor. In the yagna, on the outside, there is the bamboo with the joints. And every night, we burst one of the joints. Last night, Cindy and Dave and I alone went outside and burst the joint of the bamboo. And Cindy is saying, well, tell me, where is that now? We're doing this thing every night and we don't know why is that. Why are we doing this? And I said, girl, I really don't know now. Where I go tell you? I just hear it's a good thing to do. Because you know why? I don't want to spoil the Katha. I don't want to tell her because I don't want her to lose the interest in the Katha that will tell the real essence and reason behind what we are doing. But everything is logical and everything is scriptural. And so it is prescribed according to scripture that we must do this. Hoping that the soul of Dundukari got mukti, salvation, by these bursting joints, and so too with the souls of our pitris. Be blessed. On the first night, Paki burst the joint. On the second night, Dave burst the joint. Well, I don't know who will fight you tonight, Dave. Now that they know, I don't know who will fight. Who will rush to do? Dundukari soul gets mukti, salvation, by the prayers of Gokaran and Atma Dev. Umapati Mahadev ki jai, Pavan Sutta Hanuman ki jai, Ayodhya Ram Lala ki jai, Vrindavan Krishna Chandra ki jai, Oresa Jagannath ki jai, Bolo bhai sab santane ki jai, Siyapati Ramchandra ki jai, Sharanam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We join in the Havan. Barajit Choda Brindavan Sanchara Gopala Gopala He Mudali Gopala. Barajit Choda Brindavan Sanchara Gopala Gopala He Mudali Gopala. Nand Gopal, Anand Nand Gopal,
Nand 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 Nand Gopal. Anand Nand Gopal,
Nand Nand Gopal, Anand Nand Gopal,
Nand Nand Anand Nand Yadunand Nand Gopal,
Nand Nand Anand Nand Yadunand Nand Gopal,
Nand Nand Gopal, Anand Nand Gopal. This morning, when I got up, when my eyes opened, I was greeted to that chant. Dave was singing that chant at the top of his voice. And he's walking everywhere, bharmeina ka boot. Everywhere, inside, outside, but you could hear him everywhere he's going. And he's singing. In my mind, I said, when is not a maid, is Dave. Waking up everybody. 5 o'clock in the morning, rain falling, bucket a drop. And he walking, and you know how those old people used to walk? They can't lift their foot, they're dragging the slipper. Sewing and dragging of the foot aggravates the nerves, isn't it? And he walking and he making his own music and singing his own song. He Nanda Nanda Gopal, Ananda Nanda Gopal. Govinda Hari, Gopal Hari, He Gopi Gopi Bala. Govinda Hari, Gopal Hari, He Murali Gyan Lola.
Govinda Hari, Gopal Hari, He Gopi Gopi Bala. Govinda Hari, Gopal Hari, He Murali Gyan Lola.
Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala,
Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala,
Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala.
Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala.
Chota Yashoda ki baat, Navneet Chore Gopal.
Chora Yashoda ki baat, Navneet Chore Gopal.
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 Sarva सर्वपापहरं देवं गाङ्ग्यं निर्मलं जनं आचमनं मया दत्तगृहाणा परमेश्वर. May our sins be burnt away to the medium of oblations into the fire. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturbharenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhyo Yo Na Prachodayat Idam Gatridam Namama. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturbharenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhyo Yo Na Prachodayat Idam Gatridam Namama. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturbharenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhyo Yo Na Prachodayat Idam Gatridam Namama. Ekanantaya Vidmai Vakratundaya Dhimai Tanno Dante Prachodayat. Katyayanaya Vidmai Kanyakumari Cha Dhimai Tanno Bhagavate Prachodayat. Anjani Sutaya Vidmai Vayuputraya Dhimai Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat. Mahalakshmi Cha Vidmai Vishnu Patne Cha Dhimai Tanno Bhagavate Prachodayat. Narayanaya Vidmai Vasudevaya Dhimai Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat. Tatpurushaya Vidmai Mahadevaya Dhimai Tanno Rudra Prachodayat. Brahma Murari Sri Purantakari Banu Shashi Bhumi Sato Varasya Guru Shukra Shani Rahu Keta Sarve Grah Shantikara Bhavanto. Om Sarvebhyo Devebhyo Namah. Om Sarvebhyo Brahmanebhyo Namah. Om Hari Markat Markata Namah. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namah. Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityormokshayamamritat. Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityormokshayamamritat. Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityormokshayamamritat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sarvadevi Sarvadevtanam Swaha. O Mudaniya Bajire Jamuna ke tir.
Mudaniya Bajire Jamuna ke tir.
Mudaniya Bajire Jamuna ke tir. Sarva Papar Devam Gangyam Nirmalam Jalam Achmanim Maya Datta Grihana Parmeshwara. Achmanim Samarpyami Vanaspatira Surabhuto Gandharyo Galadutama. Agre Sarvadevanam Bhupoyam Pratikrita. Show your hands everybody. O Mudaniya Bajire Jamuna ke tir.
Mudaniya Bajire Jamuna ke tir.
O Jamuna ke tir, Jamuna ke tir.
Jamuna ke tir, Jamuna ke tir.
O Jamuna ke tir, Khana Jamuna ke tir.
Jamuna ke tir, Khana Jamuna ke tir.
O Mudaniya Bajire Jamuna ke tir.
Mudaniya Bajire Jamuna ke tir.
O Mudaniya Bajire Jamuna ke tir.
Mudaniya Bajire Jamuna ke tir.
Ram 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 Bole.
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 Ram Bole, Ram Bole.
Ram Bole, Ram Bole.
Ram Bole, Ram Bole.
Ram Bole,
chants we would have sung, I want you to remember this chant. And remembering this chant, I want you to sing this chant as much as you can. Which chant is it? Man tum Govinda Govinda bolo.
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
Man tum Govinda Govinda bolo.
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
Man means the mind. Man tum, oh mind of mine, listen. Govinda Govinda bolo. I'm training you to chant the name of Govinda. So that at that time when that comes, Govinda will be the first thing that comes to mind and the first thing out of my mouth. The connection must work properly at that time. Mind and mouth must be connected properly at that time. But the only way mind and mouth will be connected and the thought of Govinda will come and the words will be able to be expressed with bhakti, with devotion, is when you train the mind. So every single day, tomorrow morning, they will get up singing Man Tum Govinda Govinda Bolo. Dave, that's what you'll wake me up with, huh? Man Tum Govinda Govinda Bolo. Everybody, sing with me this evening with all your love. Man Tum Govinda Govinda Bolo.
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
Man Tum Govinda Govinda Bolo.
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
Govinda 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 Bolo.
गोविंद 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 बोलो
Govinda 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 Bolo.
गोविंद 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 बोलो
Man tum Govinda Govinda Bolo.
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
Man tum Govinda Govinda Bolo.
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
Man tum Govinda Govinda Bolo.
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
Govinda Hari Gopal Hari He Gopi Gopi Bala. Govinda Hari Gopal Hari He Mudali Gyan Lola. Govinda Hari Gopal Hari He Gopi Gopi Bala. Govinda Hari Gopal Hari He Mudali Gyan Lola. Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala. Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala. Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala.
जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला
छोटा यशोदा की बाल नवनीत चोर गोपाल.
छोरा यशोदा की बाल नवनीत चोर गोपाल
गोविंद हरि गोपाल हरि हे गोपी गोपी बाला. गोविंद हरि गोपाल हरि हे मुरली ज्ञान लोला.
गोविंद हरि गोपाल हरि हे गोपी गोपी बाला गोविंद हरि गोपाल हरि हे मुरली ज्ञान लोला
जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला. जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला. जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला.
जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला
छोटा यशोदा की बाल नवनीत चोर गोपाल.
छोरा यशोदा की बाल नवनीत चोर गोपाल
नवनीत चोर गोपाल.
नवनीत
वृंदावन बिहार की. वृंदावन बिहार की. वृंदावन बिहार की.
नवनीत चोर गोपाल
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो.
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो.
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
Tomorrow is not only a public holiday, tomorrow is a pundit's holiday. It doesn't mean I'm off, huh? It means that I'm still on duty. But tomorrow, we celebrate. Tomorrow is the day of celebration. Uncle Hari is celebrating his birthday tomorrow. Adi Dev is celebrating his birthday tomorrow. And there are many other beings who are celebrating their birthdays tomorrow. The best people were born in the month of June. Ask Mama, she'll tell you. Mama celebrated her 70-something birthday. 70-something, I can't tell you how much. 70-something birthday a few days ago. The grandmother, Bari. And so Mama celebrated her birthday with 2 days of puja. Because she's 70-something. Mama, I ain't not close to 70, you know. But I reach a kind of big number. So I'm having a Bhagwat 3 times a day. That's why we're having the Bhagwat. And so we're not having the Bhagwat to celebrate me. We're having the Bhagwat to celebrate all of the people closest to me. That's why we're having the Bhagwat. To celebrate the people closest to me. To celebrate our love for Bhagwan, for Paramatma. To give thanks and to show gratitude to God for blessing us with each other. There's some people in the group, when we see them, we just want to run. Push! And there's some people, when you see them in the group, you just want to hug them up. And there's some people in the group, when you see them, though your stomach full, you get hungry, you know. When you see them, you see food. Dan Paul's mother-in-law is here. When I see her, I see Polori. Barry's grandmother is here. When I see her, I see tomatoes, choka, and soup. Mama is here. When I see Mama, I think about curry peas. Auntie Sita is looking on. When I see Auntie Sita, I'm thinking about macaroni. And I'm thinking about sweet bread. When I see Ria, I think about gift. Because you know, Ria always bringing a gift. Doesn't have to be a birthday. When I see Rukmin, I say, oh God, what now? Rukmin is my number one support. My number one support. Envied by many. You should be envious. You should be envious. I'm telling you, there is need to be envious. Conviction, I'm telling you that. You should be envious. That's my number one. Auntie Radhika is looking on. She's number one. She's my number one. She has the ideal way of sending up my blood pressure, calming me. She's my number one. She's responsible for me being who I am, especially being a Pandit. It is her. Nobody else but her. And I say that with no apology. And anybody else get vexed, well, that's your problem. I'm telling you the truth. When I sit here, I only tell the truth. Like her, love her, hate her, whatever your interpretation of her is, she's my inspiration. Because you know why? I decide and I formulate in my mind, when I get old, I don't want to be like her. But I want to be successful like her. I want to be able to cope. She goes into the kitchen and you know what happened? She goes with nothing in mind and comes back with her. The best food we'll ever eat comes from her. Isn't that true? She cooks in a minute, you get hot food. And she's my number one. I could only say that tonight because my mother not here yet. It might change tomorrow, I don't know. But she's my number one. You should be jealous of her too. She lives in the very same home as me. She's the first person I see and the last person I see at night. Sometimes she's the person I don't want to see. But she's a person to be envied too. Because she's very close to me. This evening, I want to tell you that there are many beautiful things to look forward to tomorrow. Our first reading will commence at 9 o'clock and terminate at 11. Then 2 to 4 and then 7 to 9 again in the evening. Come and join with us. Tomorrow is a Pandit's holiday. I mean a public holiday. Come and join with us as we bask in the glories of the Bhagavad Gita. When you're coming, bring a little bit of gugul that will be offered in the fire. Bring a little bit of ghee that will be used for the puja. Bring a pan of ghee that will be used for the parsad. Seek your blessing for your Atma, your soul. They have all been given an opportunity. A lady came today and she brought a bag of banana. She said, Pandit, I want you to offer this in the parsad and you must eat about 4. I said, why? She said, you don't know? I said, no, what? She said, this is the parsad of Lord Krishna and this is Lord Krishna's prayers. This is parsad. Lord Krishna is depending on this offering. I didn't see you offer no banana. I'm not seeing it hanging anywhere. I'm not seeing it anywhere hanging. I said, yes, it hanging somewhere. She said, I'm carrying you up outside and you show me where. And if you can't show me, I'm hanging you up there. The fruits are hung. You know why? You know why? So that yagya will be fruitful. Symbolic of the yagya being fruitful. The holy leaves are hung because you know why? We're supposed to sit under the holy trees and listen to the katha. We can't sit under the tree, but we bring the tree to us. And that's why we put the leaves around in the decor. Let us all stand as we prepare for the closing hour this evening. Shubham karotu kalyanam arogyam sukhasam param mama shatru vinashaya deepa jyotirnamostute. Chant with me. Siddhi buddhi prade devi bhukti mukti pradayani mantra murti sada devi mahalakshmi namostute. Tonight we dedicate our arti, our Bhagwat arti, to one of my Pandit brothers, Pandit friend, Pandit colleague, who is not here. The family has just celebrated the 1 year Shraddh. His sons are on the stage, his wife is here. And this evening I pray a special prayer to Bhagwan, that may the devotion out of our arti be conveyed unto his souls. And so may his transition be a peaceful one. And may Bhagwan Krishna give comfort and strength to the children and to you, O Lakshmi. Bhagavad Arti. जय जय भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम
जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम
जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम
जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम
जय जय भगवान की है आरती
पापियों को पाप से है तारती
जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती
पापियों को पाप से है तारती
ये अमर दंत ये मूर्ति पंत ये पंचम वेद निराला नव ज्योति जगाने वाला
ये अमर ग्रंथ ये मोक्ति पंथ ये पंचम वेद निराला नव ज्योति जगाने वाला
हरि ज्ञान यही वरदान यही
हरि ज्ञान यही वरदान यही
जगती मंगल की आरती
पापियों को पाप से है तारती
जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती
पापियों को पाप से है तारती
ये शांति दीप पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला हरि दर्श दिखाने वाला
ये शांति दीप पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला हरि दर्श दिखाने वाला
ये सुख करनी ये दुख हरनी
ये सुख करने ये दुख हरने
ये मधुसूदन की आरती
पापियों को पाप से है तारती
जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती
पापियों को पाप से है तारती
ये मधुर बोल जगपंत कोल सनमाद दिखाने वाला बिगड़ी को बनाने वाला।
ये मधुर बोल जगपंत कोल सनमाद दिखाने वाला बिगड़े को बनाने वाला।
श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही
श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही
सबके महिमा की आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है आरती।
जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है आरती।
जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है आरती।
नमः शिवाय शांताय बम भोला बाबा।
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 भोला बाबा बम भोला बाबा 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 बम भोला बाबा।
हरि नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय शांताय बम भोला बाबा।
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 ॐ कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृति स्वभावात् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। मन्त्रेणं ग्राहीणं भक्तिनं जनार्दन यत्पूजितं यादेव परिपूर्णं तरस्तमे। त्वमेव माताश्च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। ॐ शान्ति
ओम शांति
ॐ शान्ति
ओम शांति
उमापति महादेव की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। अयोध्या
राम लला की जय। वृंदावन कृष्ण चंद्र की जय। उड़ीसा जगन्नाथ की जय। उलोभन सब संगन की जय। सियापति रामचंद्र की जय करना।
सीताराम 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 कहिए
जाहे विधि राखे रामा। जाहे विधि राखे रामा। जाहे विधि रहे। सीताराम 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 सीताराम।
वृंदावन में हरिलाल की। आसन पर let us all please be seated. The arti is coming. The Panchamrit is coming. Meals are provided for one and all. Please do stay and partake of the bhojan. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. Once more, Sintra is going to sing for us a rendition. And so as she sings this rendition, we dedicate this rendition to all of you who came. I'm seeing people from all the way. Kasanvi. And then Ma Tulsi came from all the way to Karikwa, and she's staying with us. Ramudi came all the way from Rock Road, and Sugi came all the way from Gasperillo. Barry and Mama, and they came all the way from Kuva. My goddaughters came all the way from Banwari Trace. To all of you, we dedicate this rendition.
अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को। अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
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 अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
सखी रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
सखी रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
राधे श्याम 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 राधे श्याम सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम। राधे
श्याम 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 राधे श्याम सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम।
अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को। घर घर काकुर तुलसी पूजा। घर घर काकुर तुलसी पूजा। घर घर काकुर तुलसी सेवा। 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 दर्शन गोविंद जी को। दर्शन गोविंद जी को। दर्शन गोविंद जी को।
दर्शन गोविंद जी को। अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
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 अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को। निर्मल नीरव पद जमुना को।
निर्मल नीर बहुत जमुना को।
निर्मल नीरव हत जमुना को।
निर्मल नीर बहुत जमुना को।
निर्मल नीरव हत जमुना को।
निर्मल नीर बहुत जमुना को।
निर्मल नीरव हत जमुना को।
निर्मल नीर बहुत जमुना को।
भोजन दूध दही को।
भोजन दूध दही को।
भोजन दूध दही को।
भोजन दूध दही को। अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
अली रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
सखी रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
सखी रे मोहे लागे बिंद्रावननी को।
लागे बिंद्रावननी
को।
राधे श्याम 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 राधे श्याम, सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम, राधे श्याम 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 राधे श्याम, सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम, राधे श्याम 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 राधे श्याम, सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम,
राधे श्याम 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 राधे श्याम, सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम,
राधे श्याम 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 राधे श्याम, सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम,
राधे श्याम 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 राधे श्याम, सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम,
राधे श्याम 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 राधे श्याम, सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम,
राधे श्याम 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 राधे श्याम, सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम,
राधे श्याम 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 राधे श्याम, सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम,
सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम,
राधे श्याम 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 राधे श्याम, सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम,
राधे श्याम सीता राम 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 राधे श्याम।
अली रे मोहे लागे वृंदावननी को,
रे मोहे लागे वृंदावननी को,
सखी रे मोहे लागे वृंदावननी को,
रे मोहे लागे वृंदावननी को,
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 अली रे मोहे लागे वृंदावननी को,
रे मोहे लागे वृंदावननी को,
सखी रे मोहे लागे वृंदावननी को,
रे मोहे लागे वृंदावननी को। Meals will now be served at the back. You can make your way to the back. And so, nobody should leave without eating. It is a blessing of the yajna, the partake of the bhojan, the meals. So please, stay and partake of the meals. It is our blessing. Ramudit, you have to eat tonight. You have not eaten any night. I'm seeing on the television. The whole world is hearing that you're busy to go home. Something happens on the road, empty stomach. You have to eat tonight. Chalo, let's go. To the back. Lakshmi, you have to eat.
बाकी नजरिया, बाकी नजरिया, बाकी नजरिया, बाकी नजरिया, कान्हा तेरी मुक्ति मुरलिया पिया तो, कान्हा तेरी बाकी नजरिया पिया तो, कान्हा तेरी बाकी नजरिया, कान्हा तेरी बाकी नजरिया पिया तो, कान्हा तेरी बाकी नजरिया, बाकी नजरिया, बाकी नजरिया, बाकी नजरिया, बाकी नजरिया, कान्हा तेरी मुक्ति मुरलिया पिया तो, कान्हा तेरी बाकी नजरिया पिया तो, कान्हा तेरी बाकी नजरिया। मुख तेरा बाका, गोपी तेरा बाका, मुख तेरा बाका, गोपी तेरा बाका, कान्हा तेरी मुक्ति मुरलिया पिया तो, कान्हा तेरी बाकी नजरिया पिया तो, कान्हा तेरी बाकी नजरिया। जल तेरा बाका, गोपी तेरा बाका, जल तेरा बाका, गोपी तेरा बाका, बाकी तेरी दिल की नजरिया पिया तो, कान्हा तेरी बाकी नजरिया पिया तो। कदिया मोरी ले ले हो ले ले नंदलाल हो ले ले नंदलाल कदिया मोरी ले ले हो ले ले नंदलाल हो ले ले नंदलाल कदिया मोरी ले ले हो ले ले नंदलाल कदिया मोरी ले ले हो ले ले नंदलाल कदिया मोरी ले ले नंदलाला 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 ओ नंदलाला ओ नंदलाला 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 ओ नंदलाला श्याम सुंदर में प्रेम नगर जाना सब संसार श्याम सुंदर की प्रेम नगर जाना सब संसार कदिया मोरी ले ले हो ले ले नंदलाल नंदलाला हो ले ले नंदलाल नंदलाला 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 ओ नंदलाला ओ नंदलाला 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 ओ नंदलाला कृष्ण कहे अर्जुन से मैं हो गगरी प्रिय कृष्ण कहे अर्जुन से मैं हो गगरी प्रिय कदिया मोरी ले ले हो ले ले नंदलाल ले ले नंदलाला हो ले ले नंदलाल नंदलाला 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 ओ नंदलाला ओ नंदलाला 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 ओ नंदलाला वृंदावन में कुंज गलन में सबको नाचन दी वृंदावन में कुंज गलन में सबको नाचन दी कदिया मोरी ले ले हो ले ले नंदलाल नंदलाला हो ले ले नंदलाल नंदलाला 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 ओ नंदलाला ओ नंदलाला 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 ओ नंदलाला 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 ओ नंदलाला 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 झूले न झुलावे ब्रज बाला
अब चोरिया पी जय बस न बनवारी अब चोरिया पी जय बस न बनवारी
अक्षरिया बीते बसी न बनवारी
बस न बनवारी बस न बनवारी
बसी न बनवारी बसी न बनवारी
बस न बनवारी बस न बनवारी
बसी न बनवारी बसी न बनवारी
अब चोरिया पी जय बस न बनवारी
अक्षरिया बीते बसी न बनवारी
अब चोरिया पी जय बस न बनवारी
अक्षरिया बीते बसी न बनवारी
मेरो जानकी रघुवीर बसुनैया मेरो जानकी रघुवीर जानकी रघुवीर जानकी रघुवीर जानकी रघुवीर जानकी रघुवीर बसुनैया मेरो जानकी रघुवीर बसुनैया मेरो जानकी रघुवीर अयोध्या आजु आनंद भये अयोध्या आजु आनंद भये आनंद भये हुए आनंद भये आनंद भये हुए आनंद भये अयोध्या आजु आनंद भये राजा दशरथ की चार पुत्र को राजा दशरथ की चार पुत्र को लक्ष्मण राम सहित अयोध्या आजु आनंद भये आनंद भये हुए आनंद भये आनंद भये हुए आनंद भये अयोध्या आजु आनंद भये गुरु हुए हैं विश्वामित्र गुरु हुए हैं विश्वामित्र घर घर आन परे अयोध्या आजु आनंद भये अयोध्या आजु आनंद भये आनंद भये हुए आनंद भये आनंद भये हुए आनंद भये अयोध्या आजु आनंद भये तुलसीदास बनिया सा चरण के तुलसीदास बनिया सा चरण के मांगल सुतन करे अयोध्या आजु आनंद भये अयोध्या आजु आनंद भये आनंद भये हुए आनंद भये आनंद भये हुए आनंद भये अयोध्या आजु आनंद भये बोलो बोलो अयोध्या नाथ सिया पति रामचंद्र की
Sankhya Television is not only the first Hindu TV station in Trinidad and Tobago, but Sankhya TV also has the most coverage. You can find Sankhya TV on Facebook by searching